Well, hello, my global scholars. It's me again with my weekly update. Um, I had some technical difficulties this morning, a power outage that resulted in a resetting of my internet. So, a little delayed this week. I apologize for that. But I'm sure with technology, sometimes it just doesn't always work in your favor. However, I did get an upgrade to my Screencastify software, so I'm not limited to just 5-minute videos anymore. But I'll still try to keep this pretty short and sweet. First things first, thank you very much on all your hard work for submitting last week's unit. So thanks again. I love reading your responses and your comments and your feedback, and I'll be providing each of you with individual feedback this week as well. So I'm going to get started on that tomorrow. As we keep chugging along here, we're still in our conflict and cooperation unit, and this week's focus is on terrorism. So while we're not really well versed with terrorism on Prince Edward Island, however, the events last weekend in Nova Scotia would definitely be an act of terror. And it's terrible that even during these times, terrible things like that still happen. So here's the plan for this week. There's 4 sections. There's intro to terrorism. So we kind of start with the one that all sticks out in our head, and that's 9/11, and then just a little overview of what actually terrorism is. And then your brain on terrorism. This is a really interesting video on how the mainstream media, if something does happen terror related, the media really gobbles it up, and that it kind of consumes the news for days and days and days. And sometimes that can make us really paranoid. And it's very interesting how the media can really mess with our heads in that sense. So your checkpoint: news stations erupt when acts of terrorism take place. Can you explain how all the coverage affects our brains or our mindsets, our levels of fear and paranoia? And how do people and politicians like someone like Donald Trump make those feelings even worse and try to play like the blame game? The section 2 is the geography and the origins and the objectives of terrorism. Let's talk about how common is it? Is it increasing or is it decreasing? And then we look at the rise of ISIS. So ISIS is a terror group, but they've actually kind of originated from other conflicts from like the 1970s. So this is just a quick, short 6-minute video explaining how ISIS kind of came to be. And then this is just like a hypothetical situation, kind of poking, not fun at, but kind of creating the analogy of, when foreign troops go and invade other countries. What if like foreign troops came and invaded one of our countries? How would we feel about that? So this is called If China Attacks America. Your checkpoint here, some people say that by invading or occupying another country like Afghanistan or Iraq can create terror groups. So if you could demonstrate your understanding of how those terror groups are created and are able to justify their actions. Third section, the different types of terrorism and motivation. So there's state terrorism and state-sponsored terrorism. Jihad is a term that gets thrown around. And then with the different types of terrorism, if you could create a fictional example demonstrating your understanding of one of the following types. The 4th section, the evolution and the combat against terrorism. This is just kind of a fun little video. When Obama was the president, his administration killed and captured Osama bin Laden. And Donald Trump's, under his administration, they were able to get an ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi. And this is just a Jimmy Kimmel mock-up or mashup, of the difference in the speeches that both presidents delivered to the American public regarding the killing of a terrorist. And it's just kind of poking a little bit of fun, but it's kind of a sad truth. We talk about the evolution of terrorism. So the next thing we should kind of worry about would be chemical terrorism. So in bioterrorism, that's actually something Bill Gates had said that's the next thing we should be worried about. So unfortunately, his prediction of COVID kind of came true. So hopefully he's wrong about this one. And then how do we combat terrorism? And this really wades into, can you really fight terrorism with, bombs and guns? But the big thing is the United States began spying on its people and people all over the world, actually. And there's a man by the name of Edward Snowden, and he worked for the NSA, and he became the whistleblower. A whistleblower is someone who basically uncovers the truth, and he let the American people know that they were essentially being spied on. That the United States government could listen to anybody through our phones, our laptops. They probably still can to this day. Edward Snowden actually lives in Moscow, Russia. He's a political refugee. He's not welcome back in the United States. If he comes back to the United States, they're going to throw him right in jail. But some people think that he is a freedom fighter as well, because the public should know it if their government is spying on them. So, in order to combat terrorism, is it right for a government to be able to spy on its people? So then the final checkpoint is, just how did online learning go this week? Your responses have been really positive, really great to read. So thank you for that. And then I actually included a couple of optional viewing videos. This is the state of surveillance with Edward Snowden, and he actually meets with people from Vice News, and he explains how the government can track you through your iPhone or your laptop, which is pretty crazy. The movie Snowden it's a great movie. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix, but if you get a chance to watch it, it's a great film. That's pretty much it for my update this week. Hope you guys are all doing well. Things are going well here at my house. It's nice to see the warmer weather. Unfortunately, a little bit of snow tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully it turns back around before we're back in school on May 11th. Fingers crossed. With that being said, I'm going to also include the link for John Krasinski's Some Good News. He always has a new issue every Monday. So I'm including that in today's update as well. So other than that, I'll let you guys get to work and stay well. And I'm only an email away, so we'll be in touch.